Ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant good evening to everybody, man. Welcome back to another channel. Welcome back to the channel. Once again, it is your boy Louis Sports Network coming back at you once again with another heavy hitter banger with yet another live stream. Make sure to smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, make sure your notifications are turned on.
What's going on?
Make sure you guys are sharing this on your social media and on your Reddit. Hey man, what's going on? So, ladies and gentlemen, I have a special guest, first time ever, man. Appreciate him coming to the stream. This is Sports Expert 101. Appreciate you coming to the stream. And how are you doing, my brother, tonight?
I'm doing all right. I'm just looking forward to this. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, no problem. Can't wait to get started on this. Been waiting for a while. I know that he won the he had won the trivia, so
Yeah.
I promised him a long time to be able to get him to come on this stream and be part of the guest. So appreciate you being here. Right off the bat, gotta ask you, man. Um, what made you start becoming a YouTuber? Like, what is it about YouTube that made you decide to do this for YouTube? But like, are you doing this for fun, or is it something that you have long-term goals on doing? So, how did you get started and become a YouTuber?
How did I get started? Well, I was just sitting at my home one day. I was bored, had nothing to do, so I decided I wanted to start making YouTube videos. When I saw there was like news coming out in sports, I wanted to post it on YouTube and see if I could gain subscribers from it. So, and have been doing that. So, and I'm planning to do YouTube for a long time now. So.
Awesome, sounds good, and definitely your channel's growing. And if you guys want to, I shouldn't say even want to. I'm saying you guys really need to check this guy's channel out. The link is in the description as well. So I put the Sports Expert channel. I'm pretty sure a lot of these guys are subscribed, but for those who are not subscribed, what are you guys waiting for? Make sure you go get this man and check this guy's stuff out. He's producing great content, and he's over 500 subscribers. So congratulations on that. I know you're doing big things on your channel. So much blessings to you on that. Gotta ask you a question, man. The KBO stuff, I gotta say, is some of the best work that you're doing right now because I wanted to do KBO baseball, and it's like I can't get myself up in the morning, to stream the games because it's something that I actually wanted to do because since baseball is coming back, and we're like just about we're 2 weeks away from that actually starting. So, and I got my Yankees playing the Nationals, so we get the World Champs. But what got you? How do you wake up in the morning? Like, how do you prepare yourself to wake up in the morning to do these KBO games? Like, what preps you up to do this, man? Because it's crazy. Like, I
You
can't
know
even
what?
do it.
Some mornings I just drink sometimes I'll go to bed early. Sometimes I'll drink a decent amount of caffeine before the stream. So, and I'll stay up and interact with the chat, and that's what makes me stay up. So during the stream,
Man,
and
because
I really enjoy watching the games as well.
do you have a favorite team, or do you just cheer for them? Just because it's just baseball and it's just something that you just love watching, or do you have a favorite Korean baseball team?
If I had a favorite team, I'd pick the NC Dinos, but I don't really. I'm not a diehard fan or anything like that. I just love watching it for fun. To be quite honest with you, man.
Okay, cool. Let me just check out the chat because I
Yeah.
know I've been hit a lot. Shout out to G Money, appreciate you. I know you guys have been excited. Shout out to Nazdar. So Nazdar, you gotta be a consistent supporter if you're going to get a mod. All you have to do is show consistent support, and definitely you will get there for sure. Um, Shout out to Gabriel, appreciate you coming through. Hey, shout out to Gold Simmons, appreciate you coming through. Shout out to Chiefs fan as always. Shout out to Anonymous, appreciate you coming through. Shout out to Andy Rod. Shout out to Junkyard Dog. Shout out to Patriots fan. Shout out to T Mac. Shout out to Christoph Sports Zing. Shout out to Junkyard Dog. Shout out to Karam, true supporter since day one coming on to here. Appreciate him. Shout out to Sports Critic. I will be on the Sports Critics podcast tomorrow, so make sure that you guys are there tomorrow. On the Precision Podcast, I will be there with Sports Critic, and if you guys aren't subscribed, make sure to subscribe to his channel. He's producing great content out there. And he's saying the Magic sucked. It's funny. So usually this is a part of the stream. I'm always trying to like go through the mods.
Yeah.
Not just the mods, but just the live stream in general, just with the
Yeah.
with the subscribers and stuff like that. So like I said, shout out to everybody. Want to make sure I try to get everybody in here. Shout out to Maze in the building. Shout out to Isaac Sports. I just checked out your channel. You're on the come up and you're producing good content yourself. I'm pretty sure I saw Alex in here. Yes, I did. There he
He's
is.
there.
Alex is the GOAT. Alex is the GOAT. Appreciate you coming through. Am I voting for Kanye? I don't even know about that, honestly. I don't even know if I'm going to vote for Kanye. Shout out to Brandon Rogers. What's up with you, man? Appreciate you. Shout out to JP of the New Orleans Saints. Appreciate you guys. Calls you cricket, really? And shout out to Gabriel. See that you're a Mets fan. I see we got a little rivalry going on because I'm a Yankees fan. But hey, man, Battle of NY. All right, so I wanted to ask you, what part of what state are you from? And other than I know that you're a big football fan, but and I know that you said that you are, watching the KBO, but are there other sports that you watch, or you're just a mainly football and baseball
I live in the state of Pennsylvania. I live in northwestern Pennsylvania, and I
guy?
watch. I also watch, other than football and baseball. I watch. Sometimes I watch hockey and basketball. So, and I watch other sports here and there. So.
All right, cool. For me, I don't for me with hockey, I watch. I got to say, hockey gets pretty exciting during playoff time. I mean, it's
Yeah.
pretty exciting in the regular season, but it's just like I know quite a few of the hockey teams, but I don't know a lot of the players, so I don't follow hockey as much. But during playoff time, you will watch me catching hockey. Watch it, especially when I watch the Stanley Cup Finals. I think hockey gets pretty exciting around during that time. And obviously, I'm a big basketball head because primarily my content is that. But like I said, I also am a huge football fan. I love baseball. I grew up with that. Baseball was my first love. Grew up a Yankees fan, and then pretty much from there watching other sports. So that's pretty cool. Do you have a favorite team in hockey?
Hockey.
In basketball?
If I hockey team, I would say the Boston Bruins, and for basketball, I'd say the Cleveland Cavaliers. So.
Okay. What you do? Are you a big LeBron fan? When
Yeah.
with the Cavaliers?
Yeah.
Okay, got you. All right, cool. No, that's all. That's all good, man. That's what's up.
I've been a Cavs fan since for 8 years now, so 8 or 9
Okay,
years. So
that's cool because I don't. The thing is, when it comes to Cavs fans, and it's like I don't really meet a lot of Cavs fans that kind of really. And I'm like I said, I'm pretty sure that there's Cavaliers fans that support the Cavs and support their teams. But sometimes there are those that will say that they're, especially when LeBron was there, they'll say that they're Cavaliers fans. But then it's like when LeBron travels to another team, then they'll say that that they're either fans of the Heat or they're come back and say fans of the Cavs, or they'll come back and say they're fans of the Lakers. But the cool thing is that I'm actually talking to somebody who's actually been supporting the Cavs for 8 years. So that's actually pretty cool. I mean, that's good. It shows that you're a diehard fan that you root for. So that's actually pretty awesome. Do you have a favorite player on the Cavaliers currently?
Right now, I'd say Colin Sexton. So
I like him a lot. I think Colin Sexton, I think he's going to have a very nice NBA future. I like him a lot. He does a lot of good things on the court that I like about him, man. People are sleeping on Colin Sexton. I hope that he has I think he's going to be huge next year. He definitely has a lot of upside. I enjoy watching him play. I did a live stream of the Cavs. They were in Detroit, so I got to see him play. I had to see Darius Garland a little bit to watch them. There were actually more Pistons fans when I did the game, but there were some Cavs fans that popped up, and they were talking about was, man, did you see Colin Sexton? Like, I really like him a lot. And I said, yeah, no, Colin Sexton is he's going to be something in this league. I just think, just give him some time. I definitely think Colin Sexton definitely has a bright future.
Yeah.
For sure. Let me just get back into the chat before I ask more. Again, appreciate Sports Critic for being here. And if you guys have not, make sure to go subscribe to this man's channel. If you please, I beg of you, trust me, you will make me a happy man if you go subscribe to SportsExpert101. Producing great content over there. Shout out to Ryan, appreciate you. Shout out to Sam G. Shout out to Caden, appreciate you, man. As always, shout out to Giants Alliance. If you guys have not, go subscribe to Giants Alliance. He is producing amazing content over there, and I enjoyed being part of his panel on Sunday. That was pretty cool. So that was great, and can't wait to do that more often. So that was awesome, and we'll love to do more.
Yeah.
Again, shout out to Porzingis. Shout out to that. Shout out to Jermaine. Appreciate you. All right. Again, shout out to T Mac. All right, you guys are Alex. You're awesome for being here. Appreciate you. All right, so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about football. Your thoughts on the Cleveland Browns this year, and looking at the talent that you guys have. What kind of year are you expecting from Baker Mayfield? And is there anybody on the team besides Baker that you're expecting a big year from for the Browns? Like, where do you see these guys? Do you see these guys as a playoff team this year? And like, I'm saying, like, if you do, like, who other than Baker Mayfield, excuse me, do you think is going to stand out? This upcoming season.
Well, I believe we can be a playoff team. I believe I actually have us going 9-7 and getting in the playoffs. So, and I believe Baker's gonna have a big season. I do. I believe we have that new coaching staff with Kevin Stefanski, and I feel like Baker fits that system perfectly. And another player I feel like will have a big year. I believe OBJ is gonna have a big year this season. I think he'll go for at least 1,300 yards. So, and yeah. But one more thing about the Browns, I think we need some improvement on the defense, though. You know how they say defense wins championships. Our defense isn't the playoff type defense, so that's one concern I have about this team. But we did get a new defensive system, though. So,
it's crazy. It's crazy because I do agree with you. I think defense wins championships, but sometimes I always say whatever team always plays the hottest, plays the best defense, kind of like at the right time, also has a capability of winning. I look at your Cleveland Browns team, and it's a talented football team. I just think that Baker Mayfield, like, hopefully, if he doesn't, like, I just feel like if he just stays away from like the media talk, I think he could definitely, recapture his rookie season. If not, he could probably be better this year. I wish Odell Beckham. I wish he was still on my Giants right now. But I know they had to get rid of him because of obviously character issues and lack of focus on the football field. I thought you guys got a great pickup. I think, and he was injured last year, but I think if Odell is healthy, I really think that he will be anywhere from 1,200 to 1,300 yards this season because I think he is that talented of a football player. So I honestly think that he will have a bounce back year. I mean, you look at some of the weapons on that team: Jarvis Landry, Nick Chubb. I mean, I could see I'd said that the Browns are possibly a playoff team. I remember when I made my original picks on one of Giants Alliance live streams when he was doing one of them. I didn't originally have the Browns, but I could see them as a playoff team, especially because I think with this extra wild card, I think more teams are going to be competitive this season. So I think it's going to be a special year for the Browns. But let me ask you this. Are there any other football players that you are a fan of, like besides any players like on the Cleveland Browns that you are, you find really exciting to watch? Like, who is a guy that it's like you just can't miss him on a Sunday?
One player I really like that's not in the Browns is Von Miller. I think he's one of my favorite players in the NFL. Just I enjoy watching his highlights, and he's a great player.
You said Von Miller, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Von Miller's a pretty good choice. I mean, that dude is an awesome football player. Like, I enjoy watching him play. I think for me, when it comes to there's a lot of players to choose from. So for me, it's like it could go on any given Sunday because just a fan of the game. Like I said, whether it's Saquon, whether I'm watching Aaron Donald, like when it comes to defense, Russell Wilson, like it could just go. It could pretty much go on and on and on. But there's a lot of favorite football players. But so yeah, like shout out to Poseidon, appreciate you coming through. Shout out to Fire Blitz. The Giants gonna go 16-0. I don't know about that, but I would love for that to happen, but I doubt that's gonna happen. Shout out to Ron in the building, man. Appreciate you coming through. Again, guys, the link is in the description box to go subscribe to Sports Expert 101. If you guys also would like to donate to the channel, again, it's not an obligation. I left the links in the description, both Cash App and PayPal. So again, appreciate everybody coming through on this live stream. Just kicking it in, talking with Sports Expert 101. I know you said that you're from Philly.
I'm
I
not
know
from
you
Philly.
said.
I didn't say I was from Philly. I said I
Oh
was
wait,
from. Yeah, I said I was from
I'm sorry. You're
Northwest.
from Pennsylvania, northwestern Pennsylvania. Excuse me.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's all right.
My
It's all right.
mistake. My
You good?
mistake. But yeah. So is there so for baseball? So for baseball, are you a Phillies fan, or is it you're just a fan of are you just a fan of MLB baseball? Do you have like any favorite players that you like to
My,
watch
my
when
favorite
baseball
team.
season is around?
My favorite team is actually the Cleveland Indians. So
Hmm.
yeah,
Awesome. Anybody on the Indians that you like particularly like?
yeah. A couple of players I really like: Francisco Lindor, Carlos Santana, and Shane Bieber, Mike Clevenger.
Cool. Those are great picks. Actually, Francisco Lindor is actually my favorite player on the Cleveland Indians. I enjoy watching him play. Francisco Lindor, he's definitely talented. I see the crazy people could call me crazy, but I kind of see Hall of Fame potential in him if he can stay healthy because I think he's that good.
Mm-hmm.
But the key thing for him is going to have to be health. But I listen, man, the Cleveland Indians. It's crazy because I honestly thought they were going to win the World Series 4 years ago, and
Yep.
I felt that they should have won when the Cubs unfortunately came back at that time. But that would have been a really nice story for the Indians, considering that it's been a long time since they won. I remember those Cleveland Indian teams of the mid to late '90s that were just like some of the best teams in baseball. When you had Jim Thome and Manny Ramirez and Omar Vizquel, and the list goes on and on with those guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But yeah,
that was a great lineup.
say it again.
That was a great lineup.
Oh yeah, they actually called that lineup the modern day murderers row. Believe it or not, because they were that lethal of a lineup. They could. The only thing that hurt, I kind of wish for them, if they had gotten Oral Hershiser. Shout out to Nick DeWitt. Appreciate you coming through. Um, I honestly wish that they could have gotten Oral Hershiser when he was with the Dodgers in the late '80s. If they would have had that Oral Hershiser pitching, I think it would have been good. I mean, he still pitched solidly for them when he was in his mid 30s already, but I felt that if they would have gotten Oral Hershiser from that '88 Dodgers team, I think they would have actually had an ace to be able to win because I feel like the pitching is what held the Indians back from winning a World Series, but their offense could match up with almost anybody in baseball history. That's how good they are. Shout out to Ryan in the building. Okay. Poseidon says that Lamar Jackson will not win a ring. Do you think Lamar Jackson will ever win a Super Bowl ring?
Yes, I do. I do. And I think he has a chance this season. He has a great chance. I believe he has a really good chance this season. I'm high. A lot of people don't like Lamar Jackson because he's a running quarterback, and they believe he could get banged up soon. But I think Lamar Jackson is just too lethal of a football player. He's
No, yeah, yeah. No, I definitely no. Didn't mean to cut you off there, but no, I definitely agree with you because Lamar Jackson. This guy just came off an MVP season. I mean, he passed for nearly 4,000 yards and was able to run on the ground for another 1,000 yards too. Some people were calling him the modern day, Michael Vick, just a slightly better version of him. And the crazy thing is, I remember Michael Vick. He would always come on. He would be on the sports shows. Every time Lamar Jackson did something special, you would always, for some reason, see Michael Vick on the show. And I'm like, why is Michael Vick always here? And I was like, I always notice him every time he comes when the Ravens win a game. But it's because Lamar Jackson always did something special. I think for Lamar Jackson, I think people kind of hate on him a little too hard because he's only really played quarterback two seasons in the NFL. He played a little bit in his rookie year, and then this last year was really his first full season, and you saw what he was able to do in his first full season. Um, and I gotta give credit to him. At least he took responsibility when he said that he felt like that the team took the Titans lightly. I know some people were criticizing him for that because it's like how why would you say something like that? But at least to me he was really being honest. So that's just telling me that he's just playing with a chip on his shoulder, and it's like he understands that you really can't be overlooking teams in the NFL because any team can beat you on any given Sunday, no matter how good or how bad an NFL team is. So um, right now to me, they're the class of the AFC North, obviously. Do you see the Browns finishing above the Steelers this season? Because for me, I feel like the Browns for me will finish second because I don't know what the Steelers' offense is going to look like. I got question marks about them. They still got a good defense. I don't know what Big Ben is going to be like this season. He is coming off of elbow surgery. You know, it could be hit or miss for him, but this season. But do you think the Browns will finish second ahead of Pittsburgh, and why?
Yes, I do. Because I believe, first of all, I believe our offense has more talent. The thing about Pittsburgh, you don't know how Ben Roethlisberger is going to play with coming back from a serious elbow injury, and he's already around 38, 39 years old, and he's probably going to have to retire in a couple of years. I would think so, but and I know they do have a great offensive line, the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I think the QB situation is going to be what it comes down to, and I believe Roethlisberger is. I believe he's just. I don't think he's going to have much of a season. I just think he's going to regress. And another thing, the Pittsburgh Steelers have a great defense. Don't get me wrong, but I think their defense won't be as good as people think. That's what I think, but I could be wrong.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we'll definitely see about that, but I agree with you in the quarterback situation. I think that Ben is definitely an upgrade from the two quarterbacks that they have. I'm not a big fan of Mason Rudolph. I just feel like the way he manages the game is just not that great for a quarterback. And he is a definite upgrade just because Big Ben has been there before. But I agree with you. I think the fact that he is 38 years old, he's coming off of elbow surgery. We don't know what to expect out of Big Ben. And like you said, they have a good offensive line, and I think their defense is good. But I'm just gonna have to wait to see. Like, they're capable of being a good. They prove that they can be a good defense, but I would just wonder how consistently of a good defense that they're going to be this upcoming season. For their sake, I hope they don't take a step back, because they do. I think that the Browns, for me, despite the fact that they can improve on defense, I think offensively, they're, in terms of talent, they're like right there for me to be able to take second place and be second behind the Ravens for the AFC North. So who do you have? Let me just check in the chat real quick, because I know there's been a lot of comments going on. Karam was saying Rangers should have won in 2011, and the Mavs won it all at the same time. Yeah, the Rangers had a 3-2 lead, and they should have won Game 6. But I remember Neftali Feliz blew that save in the ninth inning, and David Freese was just playing out of his mind. He won both the League Championship Series MVP and the World Series MVP. In the last two rounds. I mean, he was just hitting unbelievable. And again, shout out to Ryan. Poseidon Swag says, I don't believe in Lamar Jackson. I think with Lamar, we got to wait and see, because, again, the key for him is going to have to be, I think the Ravens offense is going to have to be, they're going to have to be able to balance his running attack with his passing ability. And like I said before, when I look at Lamar Jackson, he's a guy who strolls straight down the field. I feel like he needs to evolve in being able to throw to the outside on both the left and the right side of the football field. I think if Lamar can show me that. Also, he's going to have to take less chances running, because I feel like with his running style, he is more prone to injury. I forgot what game it was, and I believe he got sandwiched on a double team when he was running out of bounds for a first down. He got hit so hard, and I think it caused him to contort his body and twist. I thought that he was injured, but fortunately, he was able to get back up. Yeah, Poseidon. Right now, he's a running back playing quarterback, obviously. I mean, obviously, key thing is going to be his evolution with his arm. If he could play, and the Ravens can find a balanced attack with their offense, with him throwing and running the ball, it's going to be key. Shout out to Low Key T in the building. Make sure to subscribe to his channel. Shout out to the Bet. Appreciate you coming through. And like I said, man, just kicking it in with Sports Expert, man. This dude really knows his sports. I tell you, I get a kicker every time this dude is doing KBO baseball, and I'm always, it's like I catch the games late, but it's like this dude is there from the beginning. You show some crazy dedication, man. I don't know how you pull it off. It's crazy. Brian says, man, I didn't know the Pats this year had the hardest schedule this year. I didn't even check the Patriots schedule. Did you get a chance to check the Patriots schedule? Because I didn't.
I'm not 1,000% sure 100% sure which teams they play exactly, which weeks, but I know they have the toughest schedule in football. That's true.
Wow, that's crazy. I didn't even know that. But I mean, we're definitely going to see what the Patriots are made of. I didn't even get the chance to ask you. What was your feeling? The Bet says call him Max from now on. I see.
I know.
All right. I mean, hey, man. I mean, that's up to him. If he wants me to call him Max or Sports,
No,
he
it's all
can
right. You
stop.
can call me whatever, man. You call me whatever. I'm just
All right,
messing with you.
I'll still call you Sports Expert, man.
You can call me Max. I don't really care. It's all right.
You sure?
You can, whichever one you prefer, man.
All right. It's all good. I'll still call you Sports Expert for now, man. I think
All
more
right,
time I'll get used to calling you Max. I'll just get used to you calling you Sports Experts.
yeah, that's true.
Were you surprised? When Cam Newton signed with the Patriots, and did you? Because it's crazy. Because it's crazy for me that I'm getting it. It kind of annoys me because a lot of teams had an opportunity to sign him, but they chose not to. But yet, that for some whatever reason, everybody's surprised that Cam is oh my God, he signed with the Patriots. That it's not fair. I find that ridiculous because
Mhm.
a lot of teams had an opportunity to sign him and they chose not to. Um, do you think that the Buffalo Bills, for you, it's still their division to win now? Or do you think that the Patriots still have a chance with the fact that they signed Cam Newton to their team?
I think the Patriots have a much greater chance with the addition of Cam Newton. I do. I really do because I believe that defense is arguably a top 10 defense in the league. They still have Edelman. They have one of the best offensive lines in football. They have Sonny Michel still, and they got some other pieces on that team. Yeah, but I still feel like it's the Bills' division to win. I feel like the Bills are going to have a great season. They're arguably a top 5 defense in the NFL. I think the offense is going to improve. I think Josh Allen is actually a dark horse for MVP. So yeah, I think the Bills.
Okay.
I think the Bills could. I think the Bills could win up to 12 to 13 games. I really do. Think.
Wow. Okay. You know what? I mean, that's pretty optimistic. I think that the Bills. I like the talent that they have on their football team. I agree with you. I think they have a top 5 defense. I mean, they proved how good defensively. Excuse me, they were last year. And I was saying it on Giants Alliance live stream. I felt like the key for the Bills is going to be with Josh Allen. I think as with his arm, I think if he could show the improvement, because the thing is he has all the tools to be a great quarterback. But the continued thing is if he can improve his accuracy, I really think that Josh Allen could take that next step, and it's possible as a dark horse. I mean, it's possible he could be an MVP candidate. I agree with you. I think for the Buffalo Bills, I'm actually going to say 11, possibly 12 wins. I know you said that they're capable of winning 12 to 13 games. I mean, that's cool. I think for me, it's possibly going to, I think the lowest ceiling for me with the Bills is going to be 10 wins. And I think the highest ceiling for me, the floor is 10, and I think the ceiling is 12 for me. I think they can go, I'm predicting the Bills to either be 11-5 or 12-4 this year. I'm actually going to go with 12-4 for their ceiling because I think they have that kind of talent. Um, I think Stephon Diggs is happy with the fact that he's out of Minnesota. I
Yeah.
think he wishes he was there, but I think the fact that he was with the way he was being treated and they were giving more
Mhm.
touches to Dalvin Cook and Adam Thielen. I
Mhm.
think now that he's on there with the Bills, it gives Josh Allen number
Yeah.
one target. So Diggs is going to get a lot more receptions this coming season. Uh, I want to ask you, how many receptions and how many yards do you think Stephon Diggs is capable of getting this year?
I think he's capable of getting between 90 and 100 receptions and
Mm-hmm.
between 1,100 and 1,200 yards. And I don't remember if she asked this, but I think he could be capable of getting 9, maybe 7 to 10 touchdowns between there.
Okay. Okay. I think with Stephon Diggs, I'm gonna go with 9 touchdowns with Stephon Diggs. I think for the yardage, I'm gonna say if I was to guess and make an estimate, I'm gonna say like 1,175 to 1,200 yards for Stephon
Yeah.
Diggs and having a big season. For you able to get to his receptions. Again, salute to everybody in the chat, man. Just kicking it with my man, Sports Expert. Again, go subscribe to his channel if you guys have not yet. Again, appreciate the brother for coming through and just putting out some really fire content. Again, he just reached a little over 500 subscribers. If you guys have not, make sure to go subscribe to his channel. I truly appreciate that if you guys can. Shout out to Toby Bartlett, true supporter. He's about boxing, but he always comes to support. Again, salute, bro. Appreciate that. He says hit the like and support the channel. Absolutely appreciate it. Okay. Ryan's got a question. He says, do you think teams, and again, salute to everybody in the chat. I apologize if I didn't get to everybody's comments. Do you think teams that go to the Super Bowl that are not teams that go every year or every other year, one-hit wonders after their first Super Bowl appearance. Example, first Super Bowl appearance, you're talking about the Falcons and the Bills and the Packers. Interesting question right there. I guess the best way that I could answer that is the Buffalo Bills, if y'all remember in the 90s, they went to 4 straight Super Bowls, but do we remember the Bills? They didn't win a single Super Bowl. And the only thing that we remember about the Buffalo Bills is that they lost 4 straight. And it's crazy to me that they went 4 straight, in the time period that they were able to go. I mean, you could look at you could look at the New York Giants or New York Football Giants that won 2 Super Bowls recently. I feel like it's for us, it's like we always end up playing hot at the right time. If you look at those 2 Super Bowl seasons, and then if you look at, I remember when we were 10-6 we were the wild card when we won the Super Bowl against the Patriots. The next season we went 12-4, but we lost in the division. We lost in the divisional round. Or I think we were a wild card team too, but we ended up winning the division that year. But still, we didn't pretty go far. So, I mean, but asking you that same question, man, do you think there's those kind of teams that that have those kind of one-hit wonder seasons, and then next thing you know, it kind of takes them a while to get back. And like sometimes, like, what do you think that reason could be? And sometimes it could be obviously that they have the same team, they just don't happen to get there.
Yeah, like example of the Falcons. I think they were a one-hit wonder and one. Yeah, so just because I don't really know how to explain it, just because I don't know why these teams are one-hit wonder, because they have the same exact team, the same exact talent, but they just flop for some reason. I don't know what it is. But one team that was a one-year wonder that didn't make the Super Bowl, the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2017. They made it to the AFC Championship game, but after that, they just came back to being irrelevant. So,
Yeah, it's crazy, and no, it's crazy because the funny thing is, I said that when I look at the Falcons, I definitely think that the talent that they had at that time when they were going up against the Pats, and when I remember watching that Super Bowl 51. I mean, who can forget? 28-3. I'm like, this thing is in the bag. It's over. The Falcons win their first Super Bowl in franchise history. I'm actually happy for Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan was the MVP that season, and then all of a sudden, they just fall apart. The defense just kept allowing big plays, big plays. And the thing is, the Patriots, if you look at the way they won that game, it's like Brady was just eating them apart with just small, quick plays. And for some reason, the defense couldn't stop it. They got a couple of run plays in there. Next thing you know, they're tied. Next thing you know, the Patriots, they end up winning. I mean, the Falcons blew a 25-point lead. And I said to myself that the Falcons are not going to go back, even with the same team that they have. I said, as young talent as they had on that team, I felt like they weren't going to go back. Just for that, I was like, it's going to be a while until you recover from that. Especially when you blow a Super Bowl that you should have won pretty easily. I mean, 28-3, and the Pats had nothing going in that first half. It's crazy. It's crazy. So yeah, no, I do agree. Like, you just kind of have those one-hit wonders where they make a magical run. I look at the Cardinals of the 2008-2009 team that lost to the Steelers in the Super Bowl. I felt like they shouldn't have gotten there, but somehow that they were able to get there. And they were one of the worst defenses in the league. Some people were calling it arguably the worst defense to ever make it to the Super Bowl. And they almost beat Pittsburgh when Pittsburgh was dominating them on both sides of the ball. They came back and took the lead. I remember it was on a slant route, and Larry Fitzgerald ran right through, straight down the middle of the field for the end zone for a touchdown. I was just shocked. I'm like, are the Steelers really going to lose to this Cardinals team? And that was with all due respect. But I was just like, this is not a good defense. And this, like, they were able to stay in the game. But luckily, Santonio Holmes changed all that in the end zone with arguably one of the greatest catches I've ever seen in Super Bowl history. And that was just a great pass by Ben Roethlisberger. And for him to be able to keep his feet inbound and to be able to make that catch was just incredible. I was happy that the Steelers won that Super Bowl, because I think that would have been embarrassing had they lost like that, considering how dominant they were for pretty much. A shout out to Go Simmons. He says he was done with his live stream. Shout out to Gabe Okoa. What's up? Okay, so Poseidon says, with how the NFL is created by the cap, do you think the Super Bowl window for teams is at a max 5 years? Because you have to pay your quarterback who was on rookie deals, which I actually wanted to ask you about that one, because Patrick Mahomes getting this $503 million contract for 10 years, man. Like, what are your thoughts on Patrick Mahomes getting on that contract? Do you think he deserved it, or do you just think it's just too much money for a quarterback to get? Because this is a pretty good question that Poseidon asked.
I actually think he deserves it, but the problem is but I think he deserves it. You could argue Patrick Mahomes could be the whole team, but I don't think that's true. You need other pieces on that team. Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Mitchell Schwartz, Tyrann Mathieu, Chris Jones will all be gone soon. With that money they paid him around $50 million a year. I believe he deserved between 40 and 45 million. 50 million is crazy though. But I believe you could arguably say he deserves 50 million. But if you were going to give him a contract like that, maybe give him only a 5-year contract. Don't give him a 10-year contract, because that's pretty much his whole career. You never know. He could suffer a career-ending injury in that 10-year span, you know.
Yeah, my issue is that it's not that Patrick Mahomes doesn't deserve to get paid. He definitely deserves to get paid because, I mean, he's a Super Bowl MVP quarterback. He also is a regular season MVP quarterback. So I'm telling you, and in my personal opinion, he's the best quarterback in the league, me personally. My only thing is that paying a guy that much money, the issue I have with that is that now you have to think about the other players on your team. Like you had mentioned about Tyrann Mathieu, you had mentioned about Tyreek Hill. I mean, just look at Chris Jones. He's asking for a contract, and it's like if you lose him, he's your best pass rusher. Then it's like, how are you going to replace that? So the talent that the Chiefs have, it's like, my fear with Patrick Mahomes is that if he gets injured, then that's going to be a problem. Then it's like if you're the Chiefs, now you have to eat up that contract, and it's like it's not that I don't believe in Pat Mahomes. You're going to have to make sure that his offensive line is always giving him that much time to throw the football, because if by any chance the offensive line gets weak and they have anybody, that gets injuries, they're going to come after the quarterback more, especially top defenses that have pretty good pass rushers. That's going to be a problem. And it's like, I fear that he gets hurt. And then next, what are the Chiefs to do, now that they paid him that much money? So my issue is it's not that Patrick Mahomes has the contract. It's just, and that he doesn't deserve to get paid. I just think that $503 million for a quarterback on a 10-year deal is just a lot of money. Yep. I would have done 5 years, maybe around 200-something million, maybe close to that 300 range. To me, that wouldn't be that bad. You still could kind of save money. And like I said, like not all of that money is going to be guaranteed. Because when I was reading the contract, Adam Schefter put out the report. He was saying that I think it was like 140-something million was going to be guaranteed, like even in case of injury. I got to look at that. I got to look at the contract details again. But
yeah, he's getting the insane amount of money.
Yeah, see, exactly. So, I'm just not a fan of just a long-term deal. And Gold Simmons says, man, close to 1,000. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. And again, I appreciate everybody who was on Alex's sports channel, people who are on Sports Expert 101's channel, on the Sports Critics channel, Giants Alliance channel, everybody that's been there, supporting me and just continuing to subscribe to the channel and liking the videos. I appreciate that, and sharing it on your social medias. Like you guys mean the world to me, just for doing that. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. And like I said, again, I appreciate Sports Expert 101 coming through on this live stream. Yeah. And definitely, if you're doing one in the future and would like for me to, obviously come on, I definitely am more than happy, to come collab. No
That'd be
problem.
Great.
Awesome. Let me just go through the chat. Shout out to Jay Jefferson. Appreciate you coming through in the building. Ron says that what's interesting with the Giants is that it seems like they go to the Super Bowl every 10 years or so and come back and win a ring. You know what's crazy? The 86 Giants and the 1990 Giants, if you look at their 2 Super Bowls, that was during a 4-year span. Then if you look at our 2007 and 2011 team, that was also a 4-year span. So it's like we win every 2 Super Bowls, every 4 years, if you look at our 4. And then in between that, it's just like a long time before we even get back to the Super Bowl. We had one more Super Bowl appearance, and that was against the 2000 Ravens, but they had an all-time great defense. And I love Ray Lewis, man, one of the best middle linebackers to ever play the game, Hall of Famer Ray Lewis. So appreciate you. Again, shout out to Jay. Ryan says, if you could give an asterisk to an NFL player, what is considered an asterisk of an NFL player? Wonder how I should answer that one.
I don't know how to answer it either.
That's kind of a weird. I mean, That's kind of hard to answer. You're gonna have to clarify that one a little bit, Ryan, by what you mean
Yeah.
by that one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me just continue. Matthew Stafford is underrated. Going to be at least a wild card team this year. Yeah, I was going to say, man, what's your impression of the Detroit Lions? Do you think that they could challenge for the NFC North? And are they going to be a wild card team, or do you think they have a chance to challenge for the division title, or is that somebody else's division to win?
No, I'm actually very high on the Lions. I think they could definitely compete for that division. I don't think they'll win it, but I believe they'll make the playoffs. In my playoff predictions, I actually have the Lions going 9-7 and getting the 6th seed. And I actually have a bold prediction. I actually have them going to the divisional round of the playoffs. So,
I think depending on who the Lions match up with in the postseason, I'm glad that they improved the defense. That's one thing. I think that their defense is going to be better this year, and nobody's talking about that just because everybody always says it's the Lions. But I think they did a good job with their free agent pickups, and I think they did a solid job in the draft. Matthew Stafford, I think that he gets a bad rap because they say that he's never won a playoff game. But if you look at their defense, has been bad for quite a long time. There's probably been a couple of seasons where they've been, okay or good, but they've been the bad. And I said it before. I feel like the play calling, for the Lions has been pretty bad, also. Yeah. And I think a healthy Matthew Stafford. Listen, this guy can put points up on the board. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league when healthy. I look at him as arguably a top 10 quarterback. I think he's that good. It's just a key thing for him. He's just got to be healthy, and I think the defense has to play better. But Matthew Stafford is an underrated quarterback. Yeah, I don't understand the hate that he gets. I don't understand the hate that he gets. Oh yeah, definitely. No, I agree with you. And so I don't understand why he does get that, get that hate that he does. But it is what it is, man.
Wait, Louis, may I have a second here? I kind of need to turn my light on here because
sure, no problem.
Dark here. So
all right, no problem, man. Let me just look through the chat again, guys. Appreciate you guys coming through. Jay says Stafford is very underrated. If he had played for a winning organization, then he would be a shoo-in for the Hall of Fame. All right. Yeah, no, Stafford has played on pretty bad Detroit teams. It's crazy that I thought him and Megatron were always a good connection. I really didn't. I hated the fact that Megatron retired too early from the league, but that was his choice. But yeah, he's really never really played on a winning team. It sucks because I think he deserves a Super Bowl for sure. Ryan says with big paying contracts, certain NFL players, QBs get. That's what you mean. Okay. After big season beforehand, do you think that they should have like a curtain allowance instead of a big contract to you? Okay, so he's basically saying NFL players that like have like a good season and then they end up getting like a huge contract. Like, do you think that that's an asterisk with some NFL players getting big contracts like after like a standout season and then they don't kind of pan out to being the players that you think that they should be?
Yeah, there's a lot of players that are like that. I believe it is an asterisk because you got like Jared Goff. You see, he had a big season in 2018, got $28 million a year, and look at how he panned out this past season. He was terrible, arguably. I had him on my fantasy team. He didn't score any points for me. So, and he was very consistent pretty much the whole season. So that's gonna be something the Rams need to look out for because they paid Todd Gurley a huge contract, but they ended up cutting him. So, that's what's hurting their cap space.
No, yeah, you actually make a good point on that because, people were saying that, Jared Goff, he made 2 straight Pro Bowls. He threw for, I think, 4,600 yards, I believe. I think 4,000 yards in back-to-back seasons. But last year, he had a down year last year, and I felt like, to me, I don't know. I just feel like Jared Goff, for me, is kind of like one of those game-managing quarterbacks. I never felt like he was one of those standout quarterbacks for me. And now he kind of really has to prove himself this year. There's no more Todd Gurley. I know they still have Cooper Kupp. I like Cooper Kupp a lot. Talented football player. But I mean, this is going to tell me if Jared Goff is really a top quarterback, because I think if he has another down year, I think people are really going to start to say, well, he was just as good because he had the talent around him. Is he really that good without as talented? And I wanted to ask about Caden's Falcons because I know Todd Gurley, he didn't look himself last year. Now that he's with the Atlanta Falcons, do you think he could have a bounce back year with those boys down there in Atlanta with obviously Julio Jones one of my favorite receivers. And then can Matt Ryan have a bounce back year for sure? Can the Atlanta Falcons possibly get into the postseason?
Oh yeah, I really believe they can have. Todd Gurley could have a bounce back season. Matt Ryan could have a bounce back season. Yeah, they have actually that offense consists of. I believe almost that whole starting offense consists of former first round picks, which is crazy. So, and I also actually had Todd Gurley in my fantasy team last year. I had him and Goff, and they were both very disappointing. But I believe Todd Gurley could have a big season going back to Atlanta, where he played college football at Georgia. So, you know, I believe he could have a big season there. And I really love the receiving corps with Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley. They did lose Austin Hooper to my Cleveland Browns, but they did acquire Hayden Hurst from the Baltimore Ravens. Didn't get very many opportunities due to injuries in Baltimore, but I believe he could definitely be one of those breakout players in the NFL this season. And I believe their offensive line is okay. I don't think it's anything amazing, but I believe it's all right. They got a couple decent pieces. They got Jake Matthews, one of the better pass blocking tackles. They have Alex Mack, one of the better centers in football for the Cleveland Browns. So yeah, I think that team definitely could bounce back this season. I do have concerns about the defense, though. But I mean, they did add Dante Fowler Jr., but I believe they overpaid him. They still have Deion Jones. They have other pieces, but I feel like that team still has a weak defense. So I believe they have a lot of young pieces on that defense that still haven't developed yet. So that's going to be a little bit of a concern. But maybe head coach Dan Quinn, who is a defensive mindset, can maybe have a bounce back season because he knows maybe he's on the hot seat. So yeah, I believe you could expect a lot from the Falcons this season. Definitely going to be one of the more interesting teams in football.
Yeah, those are definitely great points, and I think the Falcons, they have the possibility of having a bounce back year, but I do agree with you in the terms of like I do have a little bit of questions on the defense because it is a little bit of a younger defense, and like you said, Dan Quinn is on the hot seat, so he's going to have to really prove himself there.
Yeah.
Todd Gurley, I think it's possible of him having a bounce back year. I'm just concerned about his knee. Concerned about his knee. I don't know if it's going to be able to hold up, and I just think that hopefully he doesn't take it. I think for him, the offensive line is just going to have to be as good as ever with some of the run blocking, so that he'll be able to get some holes. I'm wondering how he's going to run. I think with Todd Gurley, I'm not expecting too much from Gurley this season. If he can have a bounce back year where he's rushing for like 1,000 yards this season, then I think that it's possible that Gurley could definitely have a comeback season. I think Matt Ryan will bounce back and have a good season as well. And Julio Jones is just one of my favorites. I actually had him on fantasy last year, and it's just unfortunate that he's had some injuries. But it's crazy how good he is. But it's like he can get a lot of yards, but for some reason doesn't always get like that many touchdowns.
Yeah.
Because I think in a more explosive offense, I think he'd do great. But for some reason, he could get so many yards, but doesn't always get that many touchdowns. Always takes a while for him to get in the end zone. It's crazy.
Yeah. Another point about Todd Gurley, though, before we move on, he obviously has that arthritis in his knee. The Rams underused him, and he was very disappointed about that. So I believe, but from reports I've been hearing, the Falcons plan to use him a lot more than what the Rams have been using him the last couple of seasons. I believe he's going to get a full work. He may get a full workload this season. So instead of what happened in Los Angeles, where he had limitations due to the arthritis in his knee.
Yeah, I was happy that Todd got out of that situation. The funny thing is, I like seeing him in that Rams jersey, to be honest, but it's just like I didn't like what Sean McVay and the coaching staff were doing with him. I was scratching my head a lot, and sometimes I kind of question Sean McVay as a head coach, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, not trying to hate on him, but it's just like I felt like they could have used Todd Gurley a lot better. For some reason, they were making excuses almost every single time as to why Gurley a lot of times didn't look like himself out there, and it kind of pissed me off. I said, let's see what he can do, and if he doesn't look right, then okay, then pull the plug. But I felt like they just underutilized him. So I'm actually glad that he's getting a second chance in Atlanta, and Atlanta plans to do more runs with him, and have a little bit of a running game. I think it will take a little bit of pressure off of Matt Ryan, so he doesn't have to throw the ball a lot. So more runs for Gurley. I think if Gurley can have a bounce back year, I think Atlanta at least will show a little bit of improvement with their balance, at least on the offensive end. So that's big. Sports Critic says, do you think Baker will bounce back? We answered that earlier, and we
Yeah.
think that he will have a
Yep.
bounce back year. Like I said, the key thing is just not to run his mouth with the media every time something's going on. Just focus on your football team, show the leadership in the locker room. Some of his teammates have already said Baker is showing great leadership. So as long as he's doing that and just focuses on playing football, I told you, Baker's got the talent to be a great quarterback in this league. He focuses on football. He's going to have a bounce back year for sure. Okay, Posada says, do you think where players are drafted determine their careers and legacy? And he says, for example, if Melo had gone to the Pistons. That's a really good question, Posada. That's a really good question because when I look at Carmelo Anthony, he's an interesting player because when you look at the Detroit Pistons, if they had him early, I felt like they possibly could have been a dynasty. But unfortunately, because he was the player that they actually needed. They needed a go-to player. His ability to score 20 plus points. You saw what he did in Syracuse. Helping them. He was the tournament's most outstanding player. Helped them win a national title. I think Melo, and to me, this is what's hurt Melo because I think Melo, if he would have had the coaching from the beginning and being around the veterans of Rip Hamilton, Chauncey Billups, Rasheed Wallace, and Ben Wallace, the Wallace brothers, along with Larry Brown as coach, I think Melo's mindset would have been a lot different, and he would have been thinking more championships. So that was a good example you used beside him because a guy like Melo, we would be talking about him very differently because if you look at the '03 draft class, LeBron, Wade, Bosh, all those guys have championships. Melo's really the only one from that draft class. When you talk about the star players, that were in the top 5 that do not have. Heck, even Darko Milicic, who doesn't play in the NBA anymore, the pick before Melo, because he got drafted by Denver at number 3 and Milicic at number 2, he won a championship in his first year, and he was only 18 years old. But where is he now? He's not even in the league anymore. Melo's played for a long time, but to this point, he doesn't have a ring. So I would have loved to see him on a championship team. So I do agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
All right. Ryan says, would you say that Brady has an asterisk career if he still had the same career as he does now, but no Super Bowl wins? The difference, I think, with Brady is he wouldn't be remembered as much as a Super Bowl champion. But I think if Brady was still able to put up the numbers that he did, he's still going to be looked at as one of the all-time greats. I mean, look at Dan Marino, for example. He went to 1 Super Bowl. His numbers are off the charts. But he doesn't have any Super Bowl wins. But the reason that Dan Marino's talked about is because he was one of the best quarterbacks that played during his time. If Brady still puts up those numbers, despite not winning, he still would have been talked about as one of the best quarterbacks of his time. Look at John Elway. He lost his first 3 Super Bowls badly. At the time, he was the first quarterback to go to 5. And fortunately for him, he caught – I thought it was such a huge break when you look at how loaded those Bronco teams were in the late 90s. And they had a pretty good defense, and he was able to win back-to-back Super Bowls to end his career. I was happy for John because John even said himself that if he had not won those Super Bowls, it would have tore him apart, especially with the way his first 3 Super Bowls went. But do you agree with what Ryan said, that you think that that a quarterback, for example, let's say, if they didn't win a championship, or if you look at Brady, if he didn't win those 6 Super Bowls, would he still be remembered as a great quarterback, or would he be a quarterback with an asterisk, in your opinion?
Ooh, that's tough. I think he'd still be remembered as a great quarterback with the numbers he put up. With Dan Marino, only went to 1 Super Bowl. He's remembered it. There's people that say Dan Marino is arguably a top 3 quarterback to ever play the game. He's never even won a Super Bowl championship. So, but the thing about Tom Brady, if he never won the Super Bowls, he definitely wouldn't have been considered the GOAT. No way. The only reason why he's considered the GOAT is because of the Super Bowl championships. So, but yeah.
Yeah, no, that's true. And remember, it's crazy because obviously Brady's had an unbelievable career. And he he's gone to 9 Super Bowls. He's won 6 of them. And it's true. I agree with you, sports expert. He would be remembered still as a great quarterback, but it's just without the Super Bowl championships. And obviously, we wouldn't be calling him the greatest of all time. And sometimes for me, it's kind of hard to say the GOAT, especially when you look at positions like corners, safeties, defensive backs, linebackers. You look at wide receivers, and then you look at obviously the quarterback. Those are some of the positions where you could. It's really difficult to. I would say that Brady is arguably the greatest quarterback. I don't know about the greatest player of all time. Greatest QB, I could definitely, obviously you could say that. Shout out to Brandon Rodgers.
If
Go ahead.
Lewis, if you say Brady's not the best player of all time, who do you believe is the best player of all time? Then?
That's tough, man. That's tough because there's a lot of players who you could probably like make the case for like
Jerry
best player
Rice,
of all
Barry
time.
Sanders.
Yeah, because you look at Jerry Rice. I mean, Jerry Rice, he may not have been the fastest receiver. And I don't think Jerry Rice was. I thought he was deceptively quick, but I thought he always ran. I thought he was one of the best route runners though in NFL history. I thought his route running was what made him exceptionally good, and he obviously had great hands. You know, it's crazy because I look at a guy like Randy Moss. He could have made a case as the best wide receiver of all time if he just didn't have the issues, and obviously probably if he would have won a Super Bowl ring, like you can make a case for him. I mean, it's difficult for me. I can't really pinpoint like one greatest player of all time because it's like you can make a case for a lot of guys as the greatest player of all time at their position. Like when you look at NFL history, it's a lot. Brandon Rodgers says Baker and the Browns are primed to have a good season. I absolutely agree with you. Shout out to Rage 2K. What's up? Jay says prime example. Look at Barry Sanders and Calvin Johnson. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah,
Barry Sanders was able to get 15,269 yards, I think was his career for his career. Played on horrible Lions teams. And some people really hate him and they criticize him.
But yeah, 4 players I would say that could be the greatest of all time that aren't quarterbacks: Jerry Rice, Barry Sanders, Lawrence Taylor, Reggie White, maybe. So great, they're all great players. You know, it's very talented.
It's crazy because damn, Reggie White and Lawrence Taylor is kind of a toss-up for me. Like when I compare those two, you can make a case for either one of those guys, honestly.
I think Lawrence Taylor is the best player to ever play, defensive player ever.
Lawrence Taylor, that dude put so much fear in the quarterback, and like people really don't understand, man. And here's a for people who don't know, and this is something that I do, and you know, I don't know if you do this, you know, sports expert, but there's 2 channels that I watch, especially if you're really trying to understand the game of football. NFL Throwback, they throw a lot of throwback games. Definitely should check that channel out. They throw a lot of classics. Like those, they're just like super fun to watch. Also NFL Fan Zone. I think if you tune into those 2 channels, you really get to learn a lot about the history of the game. Also, I watch NFL Films as well. If you've they just did the NFL 100 in terms of the 100 best players. Love watching that show. They've had some really good players show up on that show, and the stories from these NFL players are just unbelievable. They're fun to watch, and like you get a kick. Bill Belichick is on that show, and you could just tell. Usually, and I know you've seen him with the way that he does his post-game interviews, but it's crazy when he's actually talking football. Like you can actually sit with him and actually have a conversation. He actually sounds pretty cool, and it's like he gets a joy when you talk football with him, and it's like you can tell that he just has an appreciation for all the great players that he's seen. I mean, he was on that New York Giants team. He was a defensive coordinator for those 86 Giants. So like he could tell you firsthand, and it's like he's talked about guys like Jim Brown being an influence for him. He's talked about LT. He talked about Ray Lewis, obviously when they went against one another. You know, so yeah, like it's pretty cool just listening to that. Who?
Ray Lewis. Yeah, he's another great player that you could argue.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
He said the refs hate the Detroit Lions. He says, Ryan says the main QBs that I would put asterisk list on is Aaron Rodgers and Matt Ryan. I can't put him on Aaron Rodgers though, because at least he's proven that he's a Super Bowl quarterback. I can't put it on Aaron Rodgers. Matt Ryan maybe, but Aaron Rodgers, I would not do that to Aaron Rodgers. I mean, at least he's won a Super Bowl and he's been an MVP in this league too. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Oh, Joe Montana. Oh, for sure.
He's up there.
Brady. I feel like Brady kind of surpassed him, but before Brady, I was picking Joe Montana, especially his ability to play in big games. And I give him a lot of credit with the era that he played in, man. When football was really physical and hard hitting in the era he played in. I really wish, it's crazy, man, but I really wish he actually got to play a chance, would have won a Super Bowl with Marcus Allen when he actually went to the Chiefs. But Fortunately that didn't happen. They did go to a AFC championship together, but didn't win.
Yeah.
Poseidon says he thinks that Jerry Rice is better because of the way he was able to change the wide receiver position. Yeah, no, I agree with you. For him to be consistently so good for so long, the amount of Pro Bowls he won, he won 4 Super Bowls. He was able to go to another Super Bowl with the Raiders in the early 2000s. I actually thought he was actually going to win a 5th, but that did not happen. So, but yeah, Jerry Rice, you can make a case that Jay says that Lawrence Taylor is the greatest football player ever. I'm not. Listen, man, I'm not mad at you if you pick LT, because I told you, and like Sports Expert was saying, and I agree. Like, I feel like it's a toss up between him and Reggie White. Like, I really think so. When it comes to defensive players, between him and Reggie White, it's that's a toss up. Ron says he was around when Lawrence Taylor played, man. He was scary good. One of the most impactful players I've ever seen on defense. Oh, big facts. Big facts. The crazy part about Lawrence, man, is his intimidation. His ability to come off the outside was probably the best I've ever seen. Probably the best I've ever seen. And then Reggie White with that one arm move that he likes to do to offensive linemen was actually pretty special too. So got to give him credit on that one. Imagine if LT and Ray Lewis played on the same team. Forget it. No deep. No. Quarterbacks would be scared to death if they even saw those 2 on the same team. Because the thing what makes them even great as well is their IQ. I think that their instincts and IQ really set them apart as the great defenders that they were.
Yeah.
Poseidon says Rice, Brady, Lawrence, Montana is on my Mount Rushmore. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not a bad Mount Rushmore. Shout out to Ultimate Champ in the building. Appreciate you coming through. So at this point, we'll probably run for another like maybe 5 or 10 minutes or so. I think that this has been a pretty awesome stream.
Yeah, I got to go 10 minutes too. So.
All right, no problem. So we'll just kick in for a couple of more minutes.
Yeah.
All right. So also got to ask you, man. For in terms of basketball, are there other teams that you follow besides the Cavaliers? Are you a fan of any other players that you like enjoy watching other than Colin Sexton in the NBA?
This is tough, because any other players one player I really like that a lot of people wouldn't say is one player I really like, Spencer Dinwiddie of the Nets. I really like him. One of the most enjoyable players to watch in the NBA, in my opinion. One of my favorite players in the NBA. So. That's just.
You know what? That's actually a good pick because I've been on record on saying this, and I even told Alex this. I said, "Yo, Spencer Dinwiddie is arguably the best backup point guard in the league." I enjoy watching him play. It stinks that due to complications with what he, due to the pandemic, and now that he's sick now, and unfortunately he can't play. I feel like Brooklyn pretty much lost their whole team, so they had to they had to sign 4 players. What's that?
They signed Jamal Crawford and Michael Beasley last night, though, but I don't think that's going to make much of an effect.
I have more confidence in Jamal Crawford just because he was able to score 51 points on the last team he was on, and that was with Phoenix. Than I do with Michael Beasley. I feel like Michael Beasley, he's always been talented, but it's just I just feel like his head is never really in basketball, and it's just he makes a lot of consistent mistakes, and he ends up getting off of teams. Either he gets traded, or he gets cut, or he gets waived. This is a former number 2 pick we're talking about, so that tells you Michael Beasley really could have been something in this league, but because he has talent, it's just he's never really been able to put it together. I just feel like mentally where he's at, it's always been a question with me for him. I always felt like if he was able to get his head right. It sucks because when he was on Miami with LeBron, when they would pick him up, I don't understand why they never really tried to coach him into a better player because he really could have. It's crazy. Let me see, man. Just going through. Poseidon says, "Do you believe in Dwayne Haskins? People have him as the worst starting quarterback in the league. Your thoughts on that, Dwayne Haskins? Are you a big believer in Dwayne? Can he have a good season with?" What's Washington's new team name? Because they said that they're going to get rid of the Redskins name.
They haven't announced the new team name yet.
Okay, so we'll put Washington ? Or for now, we'll just call them Redskins at this point. But are you a big believer in Dwayne Haskins and having a bounce back season compared to last year?
Believe it or not, I am. I'm a huge
Okay.
believer in Dwayne Haskins. I thought he played great towards the end of last season. And did you see his
Mm-hmm.
coaching staff? His coaching staff was pretty much his head coach was an offensive line coach. That's crazy. And
Mm-hmm.
he actually excelled a lot last year. He didn't have a ton of talent around him. The offensive line was terrible. I mean, the offensive line isn't too great this season, but I think you have young players on the offensive line that can develop. Maybe the offensive line can stay healthy and maybe it can improve. As I'm telling you, I think Haskins definitely could have a great career. They drafted a great receiver in the fourth round, Antonio Gandy Golden out of Liberty. They have Terry McLaurin, who is an Ohio State teammate. I'm actually a huge Ohio State Buckeye fan, so
Okay.
yeah. But
Nice.
I'm a huge believer in Dwayne Haskins. I believe he can do a lot. And with a new coaching staff, Ron Rivera, for sure. See what he did with Cam Newton. Watch what he's going to do with Dwayne Haskins. You watch. I'm not. He's going to be a decent. I would think he's going to be a top quarterback in football. I think he has the potential. I do.
No, those are really good points. What I don't understand is that I don't think you're really going to get the best out of Dwayne Haskins if your coach is an offensive line coach. I mean, I just don't know
Yeah,
about that. But
that was,
like, I think that was I think Dwayne was it was a little bit unfair to really judge him because he really didn't have a lot of talent around him.
yeah.
And I know he only completed. I think it was only 58% of his passes. It was one of the worst in the league. But I think. Yeah, but I definitely think that with Ron Rivera, if you saw what he was able to do with Cam Newton, he turned him into an MVP. Then I definitely think he could turn around Dwayne Haskins and make him into a much better quarterback this season.
And
I definitely think he'll improve. I don't know by how much, but I think he definitely will be better than last year. I don't think he can get any worse, to be honest. But like I said, I'm not going to completely get on Dwayne Haskins because he just really didn't have a lot of talent around him. And I'm not big on the offensive line. So they're going to have to take some steps in the right direction. They're going to have to grow and develop, obviously, but um, definitely believe that Dwayne Haskins will have a much better season,
yeah,
than he did
and
last year for sure.
and now our tight end David Njoku is actually on the trade block. Maybe the Redskins couldn't make a move for him to add another weapon to that offense, and they already have a loaded backfield with Adrian Peterson. They have Peyton Barber, Darius Bryce Love. They have a loaded backfield, so maybe that could contribute to the offense.
Yeah, I don't understand. You know what? I know he's upset because of I know David is upset on the contract because Austin Hooper got the money that he got, and I think that because I like David a lot. I think the tools that he has, the versatility that he brings at the tight end position would really be big for the Browns, considering if they're trying to be a playoff team. But I don't know how that situation is going to turn out, and the Browns have already said that they don't want to trade him because they think that with his skill set, they can really utilize him in this offense, especially with Kevin Stefanski.
With him and Cooper.
Yeah, most definitely, because I think the Browns are loaded on offense. They just got to get help. They just got to stay healthy, but definitely agree on them being really good next year.
Yeah.
Let's see. Shout out to Caden. Appreciate you. He just gave me a like count, 33 likes. I appreciate that. Bronco says that hairline is fire. I appreciate it. Got it done by the barber earlier today. Yeah, the Nets. Yeah, they signed Jamal Crawford. That was a nice pickup for them.
Yeah.
Jay says Haskins needs to develop more. He really has to work on his mechanics. Ohio State never really groomed good quarterbacks. That school's really not known for grooming good quarterbacks. Got a point there. But yeah, no, I definitely, like I said, Ron Rivera, I think can work a little bit of magic with him, and I think he'll definitely improve. If he could do it with Cam, I definitely think he could do it with Dwayne Haskins. So, like Sports Critics said, I'm expecting a bounce back year from Dwayne at the quarterback position.
Yeah.
Let's see. We'll just do a couple of more chats, a couple more minutes, and then we'll end the stream.
Yeah.
So Bronco Fanatic says David Njoku he thinks should go to the Cardinals or the Packers. Well, I said the Packers are they're in the need of a tight end, so he actually would be good for them.
The Cardinals need a tight end badly. Their starting tight ends are Dan Arnold and Max Williams. They need a tight end badly.
Yeah,
and Dan Arnold's as their starting tight end. He actually plays receiver, so they really don't have much at tight end at all. The Cardinals need to make a move for Njoku, I'd say.
Yeah, and the funny thing, yeah, you know what? They really should switch him to receiver and put David at tight end because they desperately need one. And I'm expecting a very good year from the Cardinals too. I like that DeAndre Hopkins pickup was a big one for them. Kyler Murray, I'm expecting him to, at least for me, I think he could possibly be in the MVP discussion just because of what he did in his rookie season. So I think it's going to be huge. Isaac Sports says Austin Hooper is a good tight end. Oh, yeah, no, for sure. He will work out for the Browns. It was a great pickup by the Browns. I just think that they shouldn't get rid of David. I just feel like with those two tight ends, Kevin Stefanski could really do some two tight end formations. I would hold on to David and find a way to see if they can pay him, because
I really like David Njoku. I do, but it's going to be tough losing him if we do lose him.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be a big loss if they get rid of him. I'm not a fan of the Browns if they decide to trade him. I really think they should keep him.
And I heard we would get a 4th or 5th round pick for him. I would keep him. I would want at least probably a 3rd round pick for him because of the potential he has in this league.
Yeah, definitely, okay, for sure. All right, guys. Yeah, all right, for sure. Awesome. All right, guys. So I'm going to put an end to this stream. I know that Sports Expert has got some things to do. Definitely as well. Appreciate that, Tyree. Shout out to Tyree. Appreciate that. He said the cut is fresh. I appreciate that. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank Sports Expert for being my guest on this live stream. Been waiting to collaborate with him, and he did an amazing job being on here.
Hope to collaborate with you again in the future.
Yeah, awesome. And any last words before I close out? And again, salute to everybody in the chat.
Yeah, salute to everybody in the chat. Balix, Isaac, Caden, Broncos Fanatic, Poseidon, Tyree, Jay, Ryan. We appreciate you guys being here and the other guys that were here earlier. So, yeah.
Awesome, man. So once again, guys, man, from the Fresh Cut, from the Louis Sports Network, as you guys keep talking about, but appreciate that. But again, thank you to Sports Expert. If you guys have not, make sure to go subscribe to his channel, SportsExpert101. The link is in the description. You cannot miss it. I put the link in there, so make sure to go subscribe to his channel. Yeah, no problem. And again, if you guys would like to donate to the channel, you guys don't have to. It's not an obligation, but if you guys would like to, the links are also in the description via Cash App and via PayPal. So from the Sports Expert 101 to the Louis Sports Network, I am blessing you guys a good night. Appreciate you guys coming through. You guys can catch me on the Precision Podcast tomorrow on the Sports Critic. That will be at, I believe it's at 8 p.m. if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, from the Louis Sports Network to Sports Expert 101, bless up, live, laugh, love. Thank you guys for watching. Deuces. Appreciate you guys for coming through. As always, man, like, share, subscribe, and continue to share on your social medias, man. This was a great one. Have a wonderful night, guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Peace.
All right, take care, man.
Yep.